Hey travelers, welcome back to TravelVibes, where we bring you the latest travel tips and insider hacks to make your trips smoother, smarter, and stress-free. If you love traveling, whether for work, adventure, or just a quick getaway, you already know that airport security and airline rules can be a hassle. And in 2025, things have gotten even stricter. One of the biggest concerns this year? Power banks. That small device you rely on to keep your phone charged during long layovers is now under intense scrutiny. Why? Because in January 2025, a flight from South Korea nearly turned into a disaster. As an Air Busan plane prepared for takeoff from Gimhae Airport in Busan to Hong Kong, passengers were settling in when suddenly flames and thick smoke erupted from an overhead bin. A power bank inside a passenger's carry-on caught fire, triggering chaos inside the cabin. Passengers panicked. Flight attendants rushed to contain the flames as an explosion of crackling sounds filled the aircraft. Alarms blared, smoke filled the air, and the crew had no choice but to evacuate all 176 people on board. Thankfully, everyone made it out, but 7 passengers suffered injuries. Now, airlines and security teams worldwide are on high alert, and they are not playing around. So what's changed? Are power banks still allowed? Can you still bring your portable charger in your carry-on? And what happens if you break the rules? Stick with me, because in the next few minutes, I'm going to break down exactly what you need to know so you can fly hassle-free in 2025. Before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update from TravelVibes, your go-to source for stress-free travel tips. Now, let's get started. The power bank crackdown, what you must know before you fly. 1. Are there new power bank rules in 2025? Let's get one thing straight. The official regulations for power banks haven't changed. You won't find any new government policies banning them outright. But that doesn't mean you can relax. After what happened in January 2025, airlines and airport security are enforcing these rules more aggressively than ever. If you're flying in or out of the US, especially through major airports like JFK, LAX, or Atlanta, you need to be prepared for stricter screenings, more questions, and zero tolerance for mistakes. Here's what you need to know. Power banks must be packed in your carry-on. Never put them in your checked luggage. If a battery overheats in the cargo hold, there's no one there to stop a fire. That's why security takes this so seriously. If your power bank is under 100 watt-hours, which is about 20,000 milliamp hours, you're in the clear. No special approval is needed. Just keep it in your carry-on or personal bag. If it's between 100 watt-hours and 160 watt-hours, things get more complicated. You can still bring it, but you must get approval from the airline before you fly. Some airlines may even limit how many you can carry. If you're unsure, check with your airline ahead of time to avoid problems at the airport. Anything over 160 watt-hours? That's a hard no. It's not allowed on any commercial flight, period. If you try to sneak one in, security will find it, and you'll have to say goodbye to your power bank. Depending on the airline, you could even face a fine or be denied boarding. And here's something many travelers don't think about. Even if your power bank meets the watt-hour limits, TSA agents may still flag it if it looks questionable. A battery that appears damaged, swollen, or doesn't have a visible label is a red flag. Some officers might let you through, but others? They'll take it away without hesitation. 2. What happens if you pack a power bank in checked luggage? Maybe you're thinking, I'll just toss my power bank into my suitcase and hope for the best. Bad idea. Security teams are actively scanning for them in checked bags. If your luggage gets flagged, here's what could happen. Best case scenario. They remove the power bank and you lose it. Inconvenient, but at least you still make your flight. Worst case, you get pulled aside, your bag is searched, and now you're dealing with delays, questioning, and possibly missing your flight altogether. And if you're flying internationally, it can be even worse. Some countries have strict laws and heavy fines for packing lithium batteries incorrectly. That's not the kind of souvenir you want to bring home. So, how do you avoid all this hassle? Make sure your power bank has a visible watt-hour WH rating. If the label is faded or missing, security might take it anyway, just to be safe. If you're traveling with a larger battery that's within the approved limits, bring a copy of the manufacturer's documentation or keep a screenshot of the product specs on your phone. This might seem like a small detail, but it can be the difference between a smooth trip and a frustrating airport experience. Carry-on baggage. The 2025 rule updates you can't ignore. So you've got your power bank situation under control. Great, but now comes the next big question. Is your carry-on even allowed on the plane? Many travelers assume that as long as their bag looks like a standard carry-on, they're good to go. That's no longer the case. Airlines have started cracking down harder than ever on both size and weight. And if you're not paying attention, you could be in for a frustrating and expensive surprise at the gate. No. 1. Size restrictions are getting stricter. For years, most U.S. airlines have followed a standard carry-on size limit of 22x14 x 9 inches, 56 x 36 x 23 centimeters, including handles and wheels. If you're flying domestically within the U.S., this rule hasn't changed, but enforcement has become much stricter. The bigger issue? Flying internationally. In Europe and Asia, many airlines are shrinking their carry-on size limits. The new proposed standard for Europe is 55 x 40 x 20 centimeters, and some budget airlines are even going smaller. What does this mean for you? More than 60% of carry-ons currently sold as airline approved might not actually meet 2025 requirements. If your bag is even slightly oversized, you'll likely be forced to gate check it, which often comes with extra fees. And don't assume you'll be fine just because your bag passed at your departure airport. If you're flying multiple airlines on the same trip, say a U.S. carrier to Europe and then a European airline for an internal flight, you need to pack for the strictest airlines rules. If you don't, you'll be stuck repacking at the gate or paying last-minute baggage fees that could easily be $50 to $100. 2. Weight limits are being enforced more than ever. Even if your carry-on fits in the size checker, that doesn't mean you're in the clear. Airlines are now cracking down on weight as well. In North America, the general rule is, if you can lift it into the overhead bin yourself, you're probably fine. There's usually no official weight limit for carry-ons, unless the bag is clearly overloaded. But in Europe and Asia, it's a whole different game. Many airlines now strictly enforce 8 to 10 kilograms, 17 to 22 pounds limits. This is where travelers get caught off guard. Budget airlines in particular are ruthless about this. They often weigh carry-ons at check-in, or even worse, right at the gate. If your bag is over the limit, you'll be forced to check it at a premium price. And don't expect any exceptions if you're flying business class. If the plane is full, even premium passengers can be asked to gate check their carry-ons to make room for everyone. So, what's the best way to avoid this hassle? Weigh your bag at home before heading to the airport. A cheap digital luggage scale can save you a lot of stress. If you're close to the limit, wear your heaviest items, jackets, boots, and even small accessories like a camera. Keep your personal item light. Some airlines weigh that too. Air travel is changing fast, and not knowing these rules could cost you time and money. Personal items. Airlines are tightening up on extra bags. If you've been used to bringing both a laptop bag and a purse, it's time to rethink your packing strategy. Airlines are cracking down harder than ever in 2025, strictly enforcing the one personal item rule, and that means no more sneaking in an extra bag. Your personal item must fit under the seat in front of you, with most airlines setting a standard size limit of 18 x 14 to 8 inches, 45 x 35, 20 centimeters. Budget airlines, they're even stricter. Some are now enforcing even smaller limits. And if your bag is oversized, you might be forced to check it or pay extra fees. The smart move? If you need to carry both a purse and a laptop bag, pack a larger tote that can hold both inside. That way, you're still within the one-item rule and won't have to scramble at the gate. Liquids and duty-free. The 311 rule is slowly changing. There's finally some good news for travelers. Liquid restrictions are beginning to ease in certain parts of the world. Airports in the UK, EU, and parts of Asia are rolling out advanced security scanners that eliminate the need for the 311 rule. This means you may no longer need to separate liquids or limit them to tiny bottles. But before you get too excited, remember, the US and many other countries still enforce the old rule. That means liquids must be 100 milliliters, 3.4 ounces or less per container. All bottles must fit inside one quart-sized plastic bag. Important tip: if your trip includes a layover at an airport that still follows the 3-1-1 rule, security may confiscate your liquids, even if your departure airport allowed larger bottles. Duty-free warning: don't assume duty-free items are exempt from baggage rules. They still count toward your carry-on allowance. If your bag is already packed to the max, you might have to check it at the gate, at an extra cost. To avoid problems, buy duty-free at your final departure airport so you don't have to go through security screening with liquids at a connecting airport. Smart Luggage 25 rules. If you're traveling with smart luggage, pay close attention. Airlines are enforcing stricter rules on built-in batteries. If your suitcase has a non-removable lithium battery, you can't bring it at all, whether as a carry-on or checked bag. If the battery is removable, you must take it out before checking the bag. For carry-ons, the battery must stay with you in the cabin. Security is also tightening checks on electronics. If you're carrying a laptop, tablet, or any large electronic device, be prepared to power it on at security. If your device's battery is dead and you can't turn it on, TSA may confiscate it. Keep your charger easily accessible so you can quickly plug in at a charging station if needed. The bottom line? Make sure your smart luggage complies and keep your electronics charged, because security isn't giving second chances in 2025. The new overhead bin wars: how airlines decide who gets space. Think you'll automatically get overhead bin space for your carry-on? Not anymore. Airlines are making big changes in 2025, and if you're flying basic economy, you could be in for a surprise. Some major airlines, including United and American, now restrict overhead bin access for basic economy passengers. That means if you're in the cheapest fare class, you may only be allowed a personal item. Your carry-on could be checked at the gate, often for a fee. And if you're flying on budget airlines, expect to pay extra for overhead bin space. Many low-cost carriers are treating overhead bin storage as an add-on, charging passengers who want to use it. The best way to avoid this hassle? Travel light. If you can, bring just a personal item that fits under the seat. No fighting for bin space, no unexpected fees, and no stress. Packing smarter in 2025. How to stay ahead of the rules. Flying is getting more complicated every year, but if you plan ahead, you can avoid unnecessary stress, surprise fees, and last-minute airport headaches. The key? Know the rules before you go. Here's your 2025 travel survival checklist to make sure you're prepared for anything. Power banks under 100 hours are safe. Anything above needs airline approval. Carry-on size and weight restrictions are stricter than ever. Always check your airline-specific rules. Your personal item must fit under the seat. Don't try to sneak in an extra bag. Liquids rule is changing, but not everywhere. Stick to travel-size bottles if you're unsure. Smart luggage must have removable batteries, or you won't be allowed to fly with it. Laptops and electronics may be checked at security. Keep them charged and accessible. Overhead bin space isn't guaranteed, especially if you're flying basic economy. Final travel pro tip: pack light, plan ahead, and always check your airline's rules before every trip. Policies are changing all the time, and what worked last year might not work this time. Got a travel horror story or a smart packing hack? Drop it in the comments. And if this helped, like, share, and subscribe for more travel updates. Safe travels, and see you in the skies.